Promotion.
Honorable Member Mr. McCoy, the Speaker did give permission to, I like the color. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support my colleagues on this side of the House, signaling, signaling, signaling clearly that after much scatteration, the government had no choice but to recognize that they must put people first, not only in words, but in action. Let me thank them for choosing the theme that was copied from the PNU AFC 2025 campaign manifesto. Mr. Speaker, Guyanese are being told that we are living in extraordinary times, which is a fact. We live in extraordinary growth, and don't forget extraordinary promises. Mr. Speaker, but extraordinary times claims invite extraordinary scrutiny. Budgets are not sermons. Budgets are not slogans. They're not reassurance exercises. They are instruments of governance. And governance must be judged not by intention, but by effect. Today, Mr. Speaker, education when ambition outruns execution. Mr. Speaker, education once again commands an impressive allocation. We have become very fluent in impressive allocations. They just roll out of the tongue with ease. But Mr. Speaker, the data from the budget estimate tells a sobering story. Between 2021 and 2025, the total national budget expenditure expanded dramatically, yet education's share of that expansion declined in proportional terms. In 2021, total central government expenditure stood at approximately $383 billion, while the Education Ministry's allotment was merely $7.9 billion, representing just over 2% of the total expenditure. By 2023, the total expenditure had risen approximately to $781 billion, yet the Ministry of Education's allotment increased only by $14.1 billion, still under 2% of the total expenditure. In 2024, Mr. Speaker, the total expenditure crossed $1 trillion, while education rose to $18.2 billion, again remaining below 2% of the total expenditure. In the 2025 budget, education subventions and grants reached approximately $29.6 billion, while the total expenditure exceeded $1.38 trillion, keeping education roughly at 2.1% of the total spending position. Mr. Speaker, these numbers demonstrate that while education spending has increased in absolute terms, it has failed to keep pace with the growth of the national budget. The result is that education is not being prioritized, despite repeated claims to the contrary. But, Mr. Speaker, after years and years of expanding the education budget, the country is entitled to ask a question that is simple and uncomfortable. Why do these outcomes still lag behind the expenditure? This is not hostility to investment, it is respect for public monies. Mr. Speaker, with all the trillions and budget theme after budget theme, our children are still suffering. They are falling ill from eating stale food. Mr. Speaker, of the art, but the state of the art Brigham Secondary School 2 weeks ago was leaking to the point where it was competing with the majestic Kaituro Falls after heavy rainfall. Port Kaituma Primary, Mr. Speaker, the teachers and the parents staged a sit-in protest against the filthy state of the classroom. Quarantine comprehensive, no running water in that school. Toilets could not be flushed, and no electricity in the grade 7 and 8 blocks. Yet we talk about putting people first. Parapet Harmony Primary. The parents and teachers at that school refused to allow their children to sit in classrooms that were not safe for them while construction was being done. The famous BV Kwamina Primary, Parika Salem Primary and Secondary, pigeon infested, amongst other, pigeon infested, bat infested, mosquito infested, and so many others amidst many other schools. Work at the North Rumbelt Secondary School, Mr. Speaker, are still being completed. This joins a long list of incomplete schools. What is worse, Mr. Speaker, is that some of these contractors have already received their full payment. Mr. Speaker, with all the trillions being budgeted for, very little is meeting the masses. As we have seen in reports stating that 58% of our people live in poverty and 32% of our people live in abject poverty. This makes it clear that all these trillions that have been dumped, have been dumped into chocolate factories, producing mansions in Florida and here locally, spitting out SUVs, pool houses, and apartment buildings not owned by the masses, but are owned by the corrupt few, their families, friends, and favorites. Mr. Speaker, teachers are crying out for better salaries, safe working environments, and educational policies that are geared to mold our children, but again, failed promises and copy and paste policies. Mr. Speaker, parents are bawling for safe schools for their children, not environment where children are exposed to lewd, gyrating, and inappropriate behaviors as have been seen in videos that have gone viral. So the trillions, as indicated, will not save Guyana and will not reach the masses. What we need is competence. What we need is honesty. What we need is decency and people with hearts of love and care, not copy and paste slogans. So, Mr. Speaker, if education is not first, then the future will be last. Mr. Speaker, the implementation paradox. Across electronic media, print commentary, and professional discussions, one theme dominates the education conversation: the persistent gap between policy announcements and the classroom reality. Mr. Speaker, there has been announcement of reform, but uneven delivery persists. We announce modernization, but operational basics still fail too often. We announce transformation, but ask teachers to absorb the cost silently. Mr. Speaker, this is not a mystery. It is a management problem. And what makes it particularly striking is this: when the government previously sat on the opposition benches, it articulated this very same issue with precision and passion. It demanded value for money, timelines, performance indicators, and accountability. Mr. Speaker, those arguments were correct then. They remain correct now. What has changed is not the logic, but the responsibility. Teachers, the system's shock absorbers. Mr. Speaker, no serious education system would treat its teachers as an afterthought. Yet too often, policy designs assumes unlimited resilience from a finite workforce. Teachers are asked to manage expanding curricula, new technologies, growing social challenges, and rising expectations, often simultaneously and without proportionate system support. Mr. Speaker, the public discourse reflects this clearly, and the question about deployment, workload, professional development, and retention are not ideological, they are operational. An education budget, Mr. Speaker, that cannot demonstrate with clarity that the teaching profession is being stabilized rather than stretched is a budget that postpones its own success. Mr. Speaker, the education estimates also reveal that teacher compensation and instructional quality have not been the primary beneficiaries of increased allocations. Mr. Speaker, this explains why teachers remain underpaid, overworked, and unsupported even as expectations rise. Infrastructure visibility versus functionality. By comparison, Mr. Speaker, infrastructure-heavy sectors have absorbed a rapidly expanding share of national resources. Capital expenditure rose from approximately 123.6 billion in 2021 to over 400 billion by 2024, with transport and public works accounting for the single largest increases year after year. Mr. Speaker, infrastructure has become the most visible symbol of education investment. Visibility, however, is not functionality. A building is not a school simply because it exists. It becomes a school when it is staffed, maintained, equipped, safe, and integrated into a learning system. Public discussions have repeatedly highlighted situations where physical expansion has not translated into improved learning environments. This, Mr. Speaker, is a sick pattern, and patterns demand correction, not celebration. Mr. Speaker, learning materials, the quiet architecture of inequality. Mr. Speaker, CARICOM states such as Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, and others have consistently outperformed Guyana, not because they spend more in absolute dollars, but because they allocate 15 and 20% of the total budget expenditure to education, compared to Guyana's 2%. This disparity helps to explain why Guyana continued to lag behind our regional peers in the CSEC pass rates, particularly in the core subjects such as mathematics and English. This gap is reflected in uneven literacy outcomes, declining discipline in schools, and persistent disparities between urban and rural education. Mr. Speaker, textbooks and learning materials randomly dominate headlines, but they dominate outcomes. Where distribution falters, inequality deepens. Families with means compensate, while families without means are left behind. This is how inequality becomes systemic rather than accidental. Budget credibility, therefore, depends not only on what is procured, but on what reliably reaches our classrooms. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, again, capital and infrastructure expenditure has grown at a faster rate over the same period, absorbing a dominant share of the budgetary expansion. Budgets are growing, Mr. Speaker, but classrooms are not improving at the same pace. Mr. Speaker, modern Caribbean education systems are now centered on smart classrooms, universal student access to laptops or tablets, strong digital connectivity, and well-paid, professionally supported teachers. These investments are deeply linked to improve the learning outcomes. In Guyana, however, too many schools still lack reliable electricity, water, sanitation, and basic maintenance. One cannot credibly speak of digital transformation when foundational learning conditions remain unmet. Mr. Speaker, increased spending alone has not translated into improved educational outcomes. If it had to be, we would have seen cleaner classrooms, safer learning environments, improved attendance, stronger discipline, and better examination results. Instead, the same structural problems persist year after year despite regular allocations. Mr. Speaker, Guyana is now an oil producing state, and this reality demands a strategic shift in education policy. An oil producing economy requires strong technical and vocational education, not just general instructions. These must be deliberate investments in engineering technicians, construction inspectors, survey technicians, and skilled trades alongside cutting edge information technology, data, science, and artificial intelligence skills. These are essential to building capacity so that Guyanese can design, supervise, maintain, and audit national projects rather than relying indefinitely on external expertise. Mr. Speaker, until education is treated merely not as a line item, but as the central pillar of national development, increased budgets will continue to yield disappointing outcomes. If education is not first, Mr. Speaker, the future will be last. Mr. Speaker, labor, growth without protection is not development. Mr. Speaker, this imbalance is particularly dangerous in an oil producing economy. From 2021 to 2025, Guyana spent over $4 trillion, yet there is no corresponding investment strategy to build the human capital required to manage, supervise, and audit that spending. The estimates, Mr. Speaker, show limited and fragmented funding for engineering technicians, construction inspectors, and advanced technical training, even as capital projects multiply. Mr. Speaker, without deliberate investment in technical education, IT, and emerging AI-driven skills, Guyana's capacity will remain weak and the value will continue to leak out of the country. Mr. Speaker, if education prepares citizens for the economy, labor policies must determine how the economy treats with them. Guyana's growth trajectory is often described in superlative, but growth is not just self-justifying. It must be assessed by its social footprint. Labor discourse, Mr. Speaker, today is not abstract. It is immensely practical. People are asking, Mr. Speaker, will job training lead to real jobs? Will wages keep pace with living costs? Will workplaces be safe and regulated? Mr. Speaker, skill development certificates versus careers. Mr.
For you
Speaker,
to continue along that career path, you need an extension.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the honourable member to be given 5 minutes to complete her presentation.
Thank you. Honorable member, you may continue to conclude.
Mr. Speaker, a matured economy protects its workers, not because it is charitable, but because it is rational. Mr. Speaker, the opposition's role in intellectual governance. It is the duty of the opposition not to echo optimism, but to discuss it. We are here to interrogate assumptions, expose gaps, and insist on evidence. We are here to distinguish ambition from achievement. We are here to remind the country that confidence without competence is noise. Mr. Speaker, this is why budgets must be accompanied by delivery frameworks, performance measures, and transparent reporting. Without these accountability, budgets become optional. Mr. Speaker, Guyana's opportunity is real. So is the danger of confusing momentum with mastery. Education must deliver learning, not just participation. Mr. Speaker, labor policy must deliver dignity, not just opportunity. Budgets must deliver results, not just reassurance. This opposition will not support what works. We will challenge what drifts, and we will not allow national ambition to outrun institutional capacity. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Minister of Finance stated that the budget is about building human capital for the future. Yet the estimates show that education's share of spending has remained largely flat, while infrastructure allocations have surged. The numbers do not support. Mr. Speaker, development is not what dazzles in this chamber. Mr. Speaker, if education is not placed first, the future becomes last. Mr. Speaker, we have recognized it in this budget, and we are happy that they would have chosen what the APNU would have listed in their manifesto. But Mr. Speaker, look at this. In the budget, it says $85,000 per child. And when we break that down, Mr. Speaker, $60,000 on the cash grant is equivalent to $5,000 per month. Tell me, Mr. Speaker, is that able to maintain a child for one whole month? Mr. Speaker, the $25,000 transportation is equivalent to $2-point-something thousand, and when divided further, it is equal to $104, which is not even equivalent to one bus fare. Mr. Speaker, the government seeks to put people first, but when we look at what is happening, there is nothing about putting people first. It's only about putting themselves first. Mr. Speaker, a national budget cannot diversify or compete with the work of education work. May I remind us all, Mr. Speaker, classroom shapes the workforce. Mr. Speaker, if this government is serious about putting our children and teachers first, the answer is no. Mr. Speaker, when schools lack guidance, systems, and safe environments, social breakdown follows. Education is prevention, not just instruction. Mr. Speaker, again, this budget has not set out to continue. This budget is set out to continue its oppression of the ordinary Guyanese. I said to you on that side of the house, you are not putting people first. You are continuing to have your knees on the necks of ordinary people. Mr. Speaker, this budget has once again highlighted a national disgrace for this nation in the eyes of our Caribbean colleagues. This budget, Mr. Speaker, is about fluff, it's short, and it definitely is not putting people first. Mr. Speaker, and on that note, we will not support this budget in its form. Mr. Speaker, putting people first means putting people in every aspect. Putting people first means inclusivity. Putting people first means we must be able to enjoy equal benefits like every other Guyanese. I thank you.